Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you want to make Persian rice. No problem. Here are the ingredients you're going to need. I'll have some pictures for you later so you know what's up. Essentially, you're going to need these, all what you need. You need some Persian basmati rice, a cup, some ground up saffron, a strainer, a bowl, salt, some yogurt, and butter. I'll show you what we're going to do with every one of these as we go. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a cup of basmati rice. It all depends. You just go by my gut instincts, but if you got 2-3 people, I'd say about maybe your average 2 to 2.5 cups will do. If it's just yourself or 2 people, a cup and a half will do. So after you make it a couple times, you'll figure out how much you need. But that's what first you do. You get a couple of cups of Persian rice into your bowl. Alright, the next step is you're going to have to wash your rice. And you're going to get it wet with some cold water. Kind of mess it around with your hand like so for a little bit. Let it soak in. And you're going to do this about 3 or 4 times till the water is somewhat clear, okay? Okay, so now that we've got our rice all nice and cleaned up, rinsed off I should say, you add your salt. And don't worry about how much salt, but you get the idea. Something of about that much. Then you mix it around. And here's the thing that those other videos weren't telling you, it's on YouTube, is that you really want to make your rice to sit in the salt water overnight. So if you're going to make rice, you want to start this process the night before, so it's nice and ready for you the next day. And the reason you do this essentially gets the rice to be nice and light and fluffy, because that's what gives Persian rice its wonderful texture. So add a little salt, mix it around a little bit with your hand like this, make sure it's clean, and just let it sit in there overnight, and tomorrow morning when you wake up, or tomorrow afternoon, whenever you get to go, you'll be ready to go for the next cooking process, and that will follow in a little bit. Okay, so here we are. What you're going to do next is get a pot, fill up with some water, and bring it to a boil. One thing you want to do is not to fill it up all the way to the top, maybe halfway, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding in the water, that salt water that you've got with your rice, in a few minutes after the water becomes boiled. Once that becomes boiled, then you're going to add the salt water that you have from the rice that's been sitting overnight into the pot, and let that come to boil, and then we add the rice. So we'll show that in a minute. Alright, now we're going to get preparing for our bottom of our pot, which we call tahdig, which is essentially means the bottom of the pot, which is the cooked rice. And for that, you're going to need a little bit of cup with some water in it, and you're going to bring that water to a boil by microwaving it or however you like. And then you're going to add about this much yogurt, and you're going to mix it with the hot water. Once you've done, you're going to have something like this. And then the next step is to add some saffron to this. And you won't need a lot of it, just a little bit. About that much will do, which is just a couple, maybe a little bit of a pinch, okay? Then you're going to let it sit and kind of mix it up inside the yogurt water mixture. And the reason you do this is because this is going to add a real nice coloring to the bottom of the rice, and it's going to give the rice some real nice flavor. And you just let this sit there for about 3-4 minutes or so. And as you can see, our rice water has come to a boil. So now what you're going to do is you're going to add the salt water to it, okay? Alright, now here's a very important part about this that you'll have to know. Please keep an eye on the pot, because once you add the salt water to the situation, the salt water will react, and once it boils, you can actually have it overflow. So, in other words, do not go away from the pot. Kind of stay around for about 5-10 minutes, or just keep your eye on it, because if it boils over, you'll have a big old mess on your hand, and you don't want that. Now here's what I'm talking about. See how it's getting white and stuffy? Once this stuff gets really oily, now it will start to really come over. You can see how it's doing that. So now I'm making sabzi polo, which is a little different dish, but the rice preparation is the same. So now that it's come to a boil, we're going to add our rice. See how it's puffing up? See? Oh yeah, baby. Now you got it. Otherwise, you're going to have a big old mess. Now, to prevent the rice from getting not cooked properly, you want to take a little wooden spoon and just kind of stir it very softly, because your rice is very delicate at this time. because it's very soft. So you just don't want to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan for a little bit. So you just mix it a little bit and you just wait. And the way you can tell when the rice is ready is once it starts to boil, you're essentially going to get some rice out with a fork or something like that. And then you're going to taste it a little bit to the point where the ends are soft and the middle is somewhat hard but not too hard, kind of like medium cooked, because the rest of the process is going to be cooked when we kind of do a little steam action on this. So you'll see what I'm talking about then. This whole process takes about, I'd say, 4 to 5 minutes at most. And as you can see, as the rice starts to get ready, the boiling action kind of doesn't let it boil too much. It becomes very slow and very much smooth, not so bubbly. And that's when you're getting close, real close. It's like this, ladies and gentlemen, you're ready to go. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it off the heat stove, you're going to come to your sink, and you're going to have your little bowl here, and you're going to pour it into the drainer. And once you got it poured out, you're going to pour on top of the rice cold water and let it cool down, okay? You just mix it around like so. So after you've got that all cooled off, take your pot, clean it up, wash it out, and then put it back on the stove. Adjust the stove to level 4 from high that you had it for, and let the pan come up to a heated temperature, at which time then we'll add about a tablespoon of butter, and then you're going to add your saffron yogurt mix to the bottom. And when that's done, this is going to be the bottom of your pot, and trust me, you will love this. Alright, so you'll need about that much butter right here. You just take that puppy, drop it in the bottom and let it melt up. And when it gets real nice and melted, then you'll add that and you let it come to a boil for a little bit. And I'll show what that looks like. Okay, so you want it to be kind of looking like so, right here. See how it's kind of like boiling? When it's done like that, then you just take it off, and we're going to bring it over here, and we're going to add our rice. Make sure you put some towel down on your cabinet, or you will burn a spot on your countertop. Alright, when you're done, it'll be like that. You'll just be taking handfuls, and you're putting it on inside there. Then you're going to put it back on the stove, and then you're going to leave the temperature at 4 for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll show you how you can test when your rice is ready. The next step is you're going to cover this rice with a towel, like so, and then you're going to put your lid on it, okay? If you have a very tight seal, that's even good. Put it like that, and you just fold these things over, like so, and then you're not going to touch this bad boy till about 10 to 15 minutes. Essentially what we're going to do is once the rice is, to find out if it's ready, you're going to kind of come down to the pot, kind of wet your finger a little bit, and when you hit it on the side of the pot like that, real quickly, you'll hear it go tss. And when that's done, then that means the temperature inside is getting to the right point, which then you will adjust your temperature to a lower setting. Alright, you guys will see it in a second, but I'll have to wait about 15 minutes. Alright guys, so it's been a little while, and you can see the steam is coming through, so the rice is cooking real nice. So now we do a little test. See that? See that? You hear it? Ooh yeah, baby. Now we turn this temperature down to 2, and then you've got about another, say, 10 to 15 minutes, and then your rice is ready to eat. Alright folks, rice is ready. Ta-da! Alright, let me serve it. You're going to need a little spatula like so, and then you'll see what we have created.